Hello everybody, Aiden here. Welcome to another video here on the Around the Slice Entertainment YouTube channel. So today is Friday, January 30th, and I'm aware that this isn't usually the day we talk about a new episode of HBO's The Pitt. Typically every week we talk about a new episode and I give you my review and discussion for it specifically right when it releases, right after it releases. But unfortunately last night being Thursday night at the time of this recording. Last night I was really busy and wasn't able to find the time to come back and record this. So this is kind of a one-off for a Friday episode, if you will. But we still have a lot to talk about as always. So without further ado, let's dive right into The Pitt Season 2, Episode 4, titled 10 o'clock a.m. So this takes place in hour 4 between the hours of 10 and 11 a.m. in the ER in Pittsburgh in the Pitt. So once again, I'll talk about what I enjoyed about this episode and give you some storylines I'm eyeing going forward, if you will. So first, right off the bat, where last week's episode, first of all, I really enjoyed. Last week's episode was a more quieter, calmer, other than cliffhanger, than patient-driven episode. And for all intents and purposes, that's what this week's new episode was as well, but with a bit more character growth and patient and doctor driven relationship and moments as well. So right away, obviously, we see Dr. L and Dr. Robbie as the day goes on and the morning goes on. They're beginning to tolerate each other even more. They're beginning to collaborate with each other more, whether that's in surgery, diagnosing patients, charting, whatever. But it seems, from the looks of it, that Dr. L is taking a maybe romantic interest or somewhere in that vein in Dr. Robbie, because we see that she flirts with him a bit. We see the moment where in Ahmad's little betting game with the other hospital, how they are having a code black outage. Sorry. How they are having a code black outage, we see that Dr. L comes over to Dr. Robbie, makes a comment, "Oh, I'll buy you a drink with my betting winnings." And as she's walking away, Dr. Robbie kind of turns back to her and thinks like, okay, that was a little weird, but we'll see. So yeah, I feel like that could be a nice build-up storyline, a subtle build-up to maybe some budding chemistry, romantically or otherwise, between the two as we approach the climax of this season. That could be a nice build-up to those two's relationship. Next, I want to move on to this whole situation with Jackson Davis, the campus security guard tasing him, but then there were no drugs found in his system. In this episode, he's sedated, he's taking more tests, CT scan, brain injury. He has none of that. But we do see one of his family members coming to check on him, that being his sister. But interestingly enough, we don't see the campus security guard, campus security officer, Tony, just like at last episode. Last episode, he was very excited to tell the cops what happened, and it felt like there was some shady shit going on there because from the sounds of it, he tased him for basically no reason. I don't want to say no reason, but like the kid didn't have drugs in his system or doing anything wrong. I can't imagine we're gonna go too much longer without seeing him again. Maybe we'll see a scene or two of the actual Pittsburgh police, the hospital police, if you will, kind of questioning him. Maybe he'll be removed from being campus security officer. I don't know, but I found it interesting that we didn't see Tony, but we are introduced to Jackson Davis' family member being his sister. I'm sure when he wakes up, he'll explain everything, but it seems to me, this is just a hypothesis and personal theory of my own, the college kid, he could have schizophrenia or some disorder that makes him kind of off the wall at times. My money's on schizophrenia, but I'm sure we'll dive into that even more going forward. I'm sure we'll see Tony, the security officer, question. Moving on, I want to talk about Ogilvy because since the moment this kid was introduced, I could not freaking stand him. He acts like he's the smartest guy ever. He's so cocky. He's way overconfident. He kind of belittles Joy, another student doctor, belittles Javadi, a more experienced student doctor than him. And I was kind of glad to see that kind of came back. His overconfidence and cockiness kind of came back to bite him in the ass this episode. So specifically, if you don't recall, they're all in surgery, and with the guy that came in, and he, what was it? They were doing parkour. Him and his friend were doing parkour, and he fell through the glass ceiling, glass roof of a floral shop, which is of a floral shop, and landed on the ferns. And he was fine in the beginning, but then they turned around and there was internal bleeding, so they had to take him to surgery. And good old Ogilvy, he says, "Yeah, there's a big glass shard in here. Let's take the glass out." Well, come to find out, he pulls the glass out right away, and it was covering a vein, and that vein starts to explode, literally and figuratively, and it starts to bleed all over the place. So I was kind of see where Ogilvy was kind of put in his place, whether that's by Dr. McKay, Dr. Garcia, Dr. Robbie, whoever's in that room. His cockiness finally came back to bite him. I couldn't stand Ogilvy from the moment I met him. I don't want to say he's going to be sidelined going forward, but I think he needs to take a step back and realize what he's done wrong. Maybe, I'm not saying he's going to get treated bad by Dr. Robbie and everyone going forward, but maybe he won't get to do as much operating like he wants to. There won't be as much teaching moments. I don't know. I don't know if that sounds silly or stupid or not, but yeah, it was nice to see. Now, I want to talk about the on-screen relationship this episode between Mel, Dr. King, and Dr. Santos. I thought personally that was the best part of the episode, arguably. The budding relationship we got between those two in terms of a friendship, and because they were on full display of this episode. Those two were working together for a majority, if not all, of the episode with that one specific patient. They're learning from each other. They're starting to get on each other's nerves. But I think that's a good, healthy growth development. So I really enjoyed the character development with Dr. King and Dr. Santos as a duo operating on these patients, diagnosing these patients. I thought that was really, really interesting. And Dr. King, not so much in the forefront, but the deposition still comes up now and again. So I'm really interested to see if we're ever going to actually see that hearing this season. I doubt it. Maybe that will be saved for a season 3 thing. But if we ever see this hearing, if she gets support from the other doctors, if she gets support from the hospital, I know they're backed by the hospital, but we'll see if that actually plays out in this season or next, because they've already renewed it for season 3, right when season 2 is premiering for a few weeks ago. So that's cool to see. But I really like the character growth and development as a duo that Dr. Santos and Dr. King got, and their kind of banter back and forth, if you will. Whitaker. I may be off base on this, out of touch with this, if you will, but it seems like Whitaker, now he's a full-fledged resident / doctor. He's not a student doctor anymore. Javati's in the last year of being a student doctor. Now that he's a full-fledged resident / doctor, it seems like he's starting to get a little overwhelmed. Like, he asked for Jesse's help, and Jesse's off doing something else. He asked for Dr. Robbie's help, and Dr. Robbie's busy. Dr. Ale busy. It seems like he's starting to get a bit overwhelmed, because he has Louie, then he has the other patient with, he wants to do second test. The guy ends up, he's having a heart attack, and he almost dies on the bed, just like season 1, where Whitaker lost a patient. So I'm glad they didn't lose another patient, but Whitaker may be getting a bit overwhelmed, if you will, in the ER. So maybe I'm not going to say he has a breakdown, but maybe we'll see some character development for him, kind of some vulnerability from Whitaker, if you will, going forward. I want to touch on the whole Dr. J situation, because this is very intriguing to me. So as we know, in the very beginning of the season, first of all, this is a pretty weird way to come in a hospital, but in the very beginning of the season, the girl comes in, and when she was doing her eyelashes in the morning, she literally super glued her eyes shut. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why. She just super glued her eyes shut, and Dr. Langdon is obviously treating her, but she asked for Dr. J. And to Dr. Langdon's knowledge, there is no Dr. J. I was thinking for the last couple weeks that it was Joy, because Joy has gotten a lot of character development the last couple episodes, the last couple weeks, if you will, specifically in the ER. She's starting to step up. She's starting to act on her feet more. She's starting to be on her toes. She's starting to answer questions. She's starting to step up in a big way with the other doctors. So I thought the expanded knowledge and character growth, Dr. J meant Joy. Well, come to find out, after all, it is Javati as a last year of it being a student doctor. Dr. Langdon is shown a picture, and then Javadi actually comes in, and Dr. Langdon seems very miffed by the fact that Javadi, it seems like this whole time, has been posting pictures and videos, self-help videos for like touting herself this really good doctor. And the girl says she's the best doctor in Pittsburgh, whether Instagram, TikTok, some social media platform, crap like that. But yeah, this is really intriguing to me because it seems like this whole time she's been posting kind of doctor tips and tricks, if you will, on these social media platforms. And that probably violates a lot of the hospital bylaws, if I'm being honest. So Dr. Langdon seems a bit miffed. I don't know if they'll touch on it with Dr. Robbie and Dr. Al as the lead attendings going forward in the next 3 episodes. I really hope it's addressed. I really hope they clear the air. I really hope Javadi is kind of put in a tight spot where they have to talk about it. I'm sure it violates the bylaws. I'm sure it violates some sort of privacy code and policy. Dr. Javadi seemed kind of quiet last season, still in the very beginning of the season, but clearly she wants to help people online and out. I'm sure she meant well, but that's got to be a violation of a lot of privacy codes and bylaws and things like that. So Dr. J was Dr. Javadi's whole entire time. I honestly thought it was Joy for all the reasons I explained. But yeah. Also talking about Dr. Langdon, I just want to touch on the moment of vulnerability with him. I thought it was really nice and sweet that Dr. Ale kind of comes up to him and says, "Hey, Langdon, we need you, Dr. Langdon, we need you back out of triage. So finish up with Donnie and then get back here with the overflow that we're about to get from the other hospital, West Penn or whatever it was called." And he says, yeah. And then as they're walking away, Dr. Ale goes, and it's really cool. And I'm really proud of you that you're going through that whole doctor rehab hospital process 1 year out of 5. And Dr. Langdon goes, yeah, it was tough in the beginning, but it's been really cool to cope with all that so far. And I like that moment of vulnerability for him. Dr. Al is kind of becoming more compassionate as the season goes on, whether it's flirting with Dr. Robbie, having that moment of vulnerability with Dr. Langdon, or kind of taking more of a leadership role, being more willing to teach and being more kind to the student doctors. So yeah, I really like Joy. Ogilvy I can't stand, but yeah. And then I want to touch on Louis. I feel like this is just building up. I unfortunately fear for Louis' life more and more with each passing episode. I don't know how by the end of the season, it's sad to say, but sadly, I don't know how by the end of the season that we don't lose Louis. I feel like he's going to die in a very brutal way, like liver cancer, the tooth, something like that, because they spend a decent chunk of the episode with Louis, every single episode. All 4 episodes of season 2 so far, we've spent a substantial time with Louis. So I feel like they're spending way too much time with him for something not to happen. He's not going to, a prominent patient like this, the most prominent patient in the entire show from season 1, spilling into season 2 now, isn't going to get this much time without something happening to him, unfortunately. So I really do fear for Louis' life. But yeah, man, I really, really enjoyed this episode. Just like last week, I think 2 home run episodes in a row. I really like how this episode was a balance of patient-driven, more patient exploration, but also some doctor character arcs, and most importantly, some growth with doctor-patient relationships. So I think it was a mix of really nice mix of both sides, if you will. So I'm going to give this episode, honestly, no qualms, no flaws at all. I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. I feel like it's the calm before the storm, before the overflow from the other hospital comes. I feel like it was a really nice bridge episode, transition/bridge episode, if you will, before the storm of the overflow comes specifically. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. Let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of The Pitt? Season 2, episode 4, titled 10 a.m. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter /X at @AWeingarten13 for more talk about this show, for more talk about other shows, future shows, past shows, whatever conversation you want to have at @AWeingarten13 over there. Please, of course, like and subscribe. As always, please share this video and channel with anyone and everyone you know. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for the support as always. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.